Hey guys, Nicolai here. Over the years, League of Legends has had hundreds of items added to the game, some becoming everyday staples and some being labeled completely useless. With that, Riot has to make decisions where they decide that certain items will be entirely removed from the game. And if there's any group of people that hates change, it's gamers.
Did they actually buff Cannon? Are they stupid?
Kirby Star Allies wasn't what I wanted.
This is your biggest mistake. How could you change the logo?
What are they doing?
So today we'll be taking a look at some of the most controversial items removed from the game, while looking at, most importantly, why they were removed. But before getting started, this video is sponsored by ProGuides. ProGuides.com is the best way to improve your rank, with exclusive pro courses, constantly updating video guides, and of course, the ability to play and be coached by challenger players at any time. Start ranking up today by signing up on ProGuides with the first link in the description. Now with that being said, let's jump into the video. Getting started with number 5, the most spiciest item removal in my opinion, stacking items. Back in the day, League of Legends had a set of 3 similar stacking items. One which is still available to this day is Magi's Soul Stealer. This item can be stacked up to 25 times. Upon dying, you will lose 10 stacks. Stacks are obtained by getting kills or assists with the item, 2 stacks per assist and 4 stacks per kill. Each stack gives the player an additional 5 ability power, meaning that a fully stacked Magi's would give you 125 ability power, more than any other item in the game. And I explained that just to say that these 2 other items follow a similar recipe. Leviathan, the health stacking item, and what we're going to dive into right now, the Sword of the Occult, the attack damage stacking item, which was removed on November 11th, 2015. The removal of this item came as a shock to many players, specifically because everyone pointed to Magi's and said, why is that allowed, but not the attack damage variant? To which Riot said, shut up, we make the rules, don't talk back. But no, seriously. Many players argued that the reason for the removal was that people rarely ever bought the Sword of the Occult. However, the exact same thing can be said about Magi's. These are very situational items, so they are typically rarely used. However, I personally always felt like I knew why this item was removed. The Sword of the Occult was heavily abused by boosters. Specifically, back then, champions like Talon, Zed, Rengar, and Draven, to name a few, were absolutely insane with a fully stacked Sword of the Occult, and a booster smurfing into low elo could guarantee anyone a win simply by running this item. I don't have visual evidence of a booster doing this, but I do have recordings of a popular Chinese streamer named Vincent who regularly abused this item. He frequently would buy the Sword of the Occult and get insane scores while smurfing. Here Vincent wins the game in 19 minutes with 59 kills on Draven. All because he got some lucky kills early and rushed buying the Sword of the Occult. And believe it or not, this would be a common occurrence for Vincent.
This dude was literally just farming champions.
Realistically, we will never fully know why this item was removed, because at one point Riot uploaded files of a Sword of the Occult rework onto the PBE. However, nothing came of it, and it was the last time the Sword of the Occult was ever mentioned. Oh, and then the other stacking item I mentioned earlier, Leviathan, was only in the game during the alpha stage of the game. The concept sounds fun, but it would actually be incredibly powerful. What is Leviathan's weakness? Dying. What does Leviathan prevent? Dying. I think Riot made the right call getting rid of that one. Now moving on to number 4, the Tricksters Glass. In 2015, a brand new game mode came to League of Legends. It was called the Black Market Brawlers. This was the first time Riot ever went so hard on creating an original game mode. Though it was set on the classic Summoner's Rift map, it had a brand new announcer,
your mate's feeding the fishes,
brand new minions, and among other things, it came with new items. Within these 16 new items were a couple which were quite interesting. Specifically what I believe was the biggest fan favorite, the Tricksters Glass. This item would allow you to take on the appearance of an ally champion for 30 seconds or until you cast a spell or attack. giving players the ability to perform some pretty unique ganks. But just like most of the unique game modes made in League of Legends, they're made playable for a little bit and then they're gone. 2 items did however live on as a memento of the event. Both Dead Man's Plate and Lost Chapter came from the black market brawlers. Some people wished that more items stuck around or that the voice announcer would be allowed to be used in the future. None of that happened. And despite the Tricksters Glass becoming such a fan favorite, the item was never seen ever again. Until they basically made it into a champion.
Evelyn is so extreme. Nico curious. Nico on fire! Just kidding.
Now for number 3, an item that people just completely forgot about, the green ward. This was literally just a regular ward which you could buy for 75 gold. Back in the day, supports were supposed to be completely in charge of warding. Spending your early gold on anything other than wards was quite taboo. If you ever watch an old League of Legends professional match, you will notice that both of the supports are only buying a sightstone, wards, and potions. This is a screenshot taken 10 minutes into a game between T1 and TSM in 2013. As you can see, they only have wards and potions.
What is my purpose?
You buy wards.
Oh my god.
Now, the reason for this removal made a lot of sense. The meta of supports being warding machines was pretty stale and at times even toxic. So in Season 6, Riot reworked the vision trinkets and made pink wards more affordable. This completely changed the ways team handled warding, and now your Lux support can focus on going full AP instead of buying some silly wards.
They've got complete coverage of the entire map here for TSM. Really have a stranglehold, and it's really up to Dignitas just to try and make those desperate plays to get a little window here. Little claps from the crowd as they at least fight back as far as vision wars are concerned.
They're trying to get what they can.
Whoa.
Dragon in 14 seconds. This is going to be a very big fight. If you can put that
Big fans
shockwave,
rallying here.
Moving on, number 2, the removal of the mana potion. This was oddly controversial at the time, because when the news broke out that Riot was getting rid of the mana potion, people lost their minds. Some champions straight up depended on having a couple mana potions in their early laning phase. Without one, their abilities would be somewhat limited until they acquired some items. But obviously Riot did see that this would be an issue. So with the removal of the mana potion, they announced that they would be adjusting practically every champion's mana. Now, 5 years later, we obviously can look back and see that the removal of the mana potion was actually no big deal. And to be honest, it's still right there in the shop. The removal of the mana potion just makes me think about how sometimes Riot will make a change in the game that looks like a mistake. But odds are, most of the time they know what they're doing. Most times. Obviously, gamers love to overreact to a big announcement, but usually things are gonna be okay. Just a while back, people were talking about how overpowered Senna's ultimate would be. And now that it's been in the game for a few months, I think most players agree that it's not that big of a problem. Now for number 1, I want to pay respect to all the items that were lost over the years. Especially items like boot enchantments and banner of command, just to name a few. These items were removed, but with an asterisk. In their removal announcements, Riot suggests the removal of these items not being permanent. But if looking back at history tells us anything, it's that once an item is removed from the game, don't expect to see it ever again. Except for that one time when they made a rune that literally gives you old items.
Nice, we got it. This is up what we're doing this. I got so much klepto. This is broken. I'm making so much money.
However, they ended up removing that as well.